This video is going to be about when to DIY, when to hire a handyman, or when to hire a licensed contractor. We know you're handy, we know you have all the cool tools, you watch our videos and you have experience and confidence, but even the most capable DIYer is going to hit a line where it's going to make sense for them to hire somebody else to either help or do a project for them. Let's talk about where that line is today, and if you stick around till the end, we're going to add up what the differences would be to DIY some common projects, hire a handyman, or hire a contractor. As far as DIY goes, you should tackle any project that you have the tools, confidence, and time to do. From flooring, painting, drywall, light electrical, light plumbing, anything landscaping related, anything you feel like you can do, you should do it. Just remember that just because you have the time or you have the know-how doesn't mean that you should do everything that you can do. We all have families, kids, jobs, friends, life, hobbies. All those things get in the way, and they play a factor in when you should DIY and when you should hire out a job. When you have more projects than time or availability, even if you have the know-how and you have the tools, then maybe it's time to think about it. A handyman is going to be a good option for you when you have something around the house that needs to be done that doesn't require heavy permits or structural repairs and things like that. Handymen are going to be super helpful. They're going to be a cheaper option than a general contractor, and they're going to be probably easier to get in schedule and time wise. Just remember, when you're hiring a handyman, some handymen are going to have expertise in areas that others aren't. So maybe interview a couple of handymen before you hire one, unless you already have one that you prefer to use. You might be able to change a garbage disposal, but just because you know how to change a garbage disposal doesn't mean that you should miss date night so that you can push trash down the sink. Sometimes you got to hire it out so that you can do what you need to do and live your life. As a contractor, I can tell you there's a line where even pros call in other pros. Some of those examples would be HVAC work, gas work, electrical changeouts, or structural repairs. Anything requiring heavy permits or drawings, it's sometimes easier to call in a pro who does that every day for a living than it is to try to tackle it yourself. As a homeowner, yes, in most localities you have the right to pull any permit you want and attempt to do any job that you want to do around your house. The problem is you're going to be held to the same standard as a pro or someone who's been educated on how to do those projects. So you're going to have to go through the same permit process, the same application processes, and the same inspection processes along the way. That's not going to be as easy as you think. Even the handiest of person doesn't have the time that it will take to learn trades and disciplines over and over and over again to do every job around the house. And even though you can accomplish some of these tasks yourself around the house, sometimes for peace of mind and to protect the value of your home, it makes the most sense to call a pro and bring them in to get it done. All right, so now I'm going to talk about some pricing. I have a piece of paper here with some stuff written on it, and I'm going to have to look down from time to time. But let's just talk about an item that we just did a DIY video on, changing a ceiling fan. The fan we bought cost $143.17 with tax at Lowe's. Miscellaneous items you might need: electrical tape, wire nuts, pliers, anything you don't have around the house. We're going to add $15 for miscellaneous items to this line item. Now we're assuming you already have a step stool or a chair or something you can stand on. If not, you should have a 5-gallon bucket at least if you watch our videos. So the total cost for a ceiling fan if you DIY it is only $158.17, and that's not too bad. Handyman in our market, Pro Mattress says the average hourly rate for a handyman is $68.71, which we'll round up to 70 to keep the math simple for this video. This job was going to take an average of 2 hours, so the cost for this job would be $298.17, assuming they don't mark up the fan or you provide the fan. So that's going to equal about a 50% markup over doing it yourself. So the total for the fan if you did it yourself was $158.17. The total if you hired a handyman was $298.17. A licensed contractor and electrician, the average hourly rate for a licensed contractor in our market is around $100 an hour. Most contractors or electricians will not allow you to supply material for their jobs, and they're going to always mark up material, sometimes as much as 30%. The cost for this job, based on those prices, would be $405.62, over 130% more than doing it yourself. These prices that I'm talking about are based on research in our area. Pricing in your area could vary. There's a great guide for pricing differences based on the area that you live in by RS Means. We couldn't find an online article for it, but they make a book that contractors use called the Contractor's Pricing Guide. For instance, in our area, pricing index is 0.98, which would mean for every $1,000 on average in the United States that something costs, in my market, the average is 98% of that. So 1,000 would be $980. However, if you lived in Philadelphia, you could expect to pay up to 29% more than that, as the pricing index there is 1.27, or you would take that same 1,000, multiply it times 1.27, and get a total cost of $1,270 for the exact same project. So like you can see from these examples, the pricing isn't going to be exact based on what I'm saying to you about this, but it's going to give you an idea. And if you shop around in your area, you'll be able to see what your pricing would come in at for similar items. Now, the ceiling fan was a very simple project. Let's talk about something maybe a little bit more involved. Let's say you and your family want to remodel your kitchen, and you're thinking, I could definitely do this. I can take cabinets down, I can put cabinets up, I can order countertops, and I can install them. Let's just say if you're going to DIY the whole thing, it's going to cost you $5,500 in material, which is all it's going to cost, because your time is your time. Now, if you were to hire a handyman to do the exact same thing, based on the pricing in our area, that project is probably going to cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of $8,300 to $9,000 to get the exact same job done, but having a handyman do it instead of you doing it yourself. And if you were to call a licensed contractor who specializes in doing kitchens, that exact same kitchen project with the exact same material is probably going to cost you somewhere around $13,000 to $16,000. But let's talk about the elephant in the room and the reason that contractors and handyman charge what they charge. If you try to DIY your kitchen and you have a job, a family, any responsibilities whatsoever, it could take you 3, 4, 5, 6 months to get your kitchen taken care of. The truth is, we don't have that kind of time. Who can have their kitchen taken apart for 3, 4, 5, or 6 months unless you're working on a house that you don't live in? I know my family wouldn't be okay with that, so I doubt most families would be. Now, if you hired a handyman, you could probably cut that time in half, maybe a little bit less. A month to 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks to get the same job done. But if you were to hire a licensed pro contractor who does this every day and that's their specialty, they could probably knock it out in as little as a week, 2 to 3 weeks max, and then you got your house back to right how you had it before. And I'm not advocating to hire contractors or handymen. I'm just saying there's pros and cons to everything. And just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. Always weigh out what's best for you, your family, and your budget, and make your decisions based on that. Being handy means also knowing your limits. Being a savvy homeowner means knowing when to delegate. Your time, your peace of mind, and your budget will always dictate what you can and can't do yourself around your house. I say do as much as you can, but when the time comes and you need help, don't feel bad. Everybody needs help sometimes. Handy homeowners like me and you get more done, save money, and take pride in our homes in a way that people that don't work around their homes just can't understand. If you have a project around your house that you're having trouble with or you need help with, please drop a comment below. I'd love to make a video so that we can try to help you get through your project. This has been brought to you by Your Home Made Easy. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more.